All the woes, all the trouble, all the terrible things that happened in Volume 3. Who can we all really pin it on? Can we pin it on her? 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 What about this guy? Maybe him? I mean, I don't know. But you see, upon really thinking about it, I think I do know who to blame. Someone that's near and dear to all of our hearts. Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, Jake of the OneManBand is back again, and welcome to another RWBY theory analysis video. So, let's talk about what happened in Volume 3. All the terrible things that happened, the Vital Festival going to crap, all those deaths that happened, all the destruction that happened. It was pretty terrible. It was terrible to watch, terrible to see, especially when we were starting to get comfortable in the universe. And you see, a little while ago, I was thinking back toward everything that led up to that point, because I have to constantly be thinking about RWBY or else my heart stops. So, upon looking back and thinking, I found that I started connecting some lines, and I started to realize that if certain events hadn't have happened, or would have been changed, Volume 3, all that trouble that happened in Volume 3, wouldn't have happened. And as I started to connect this spider web, connected line to line, it all came to one center point. One person who could have changed everything. This person is none other than our beloved Blake Belladonna. Hey, you down there in the comments, stop it. No, don't write your comment just yet. Let me voice my opinion. I'm going to tell you how everything is connected to Blake, and how one decision made by her could have changed the whole outlook that happened in Volume 3. Let's start at the beginning. As we saw in the Black trailer, Blake was a former member of the White Fang working directly with Adam, and after the events that happened on the train, she decided to leave the White Fang behind. And later on in Volume 1, we learn just how much down the rabbit hole she was associated with the White Fang. She had been part of it practically since she was born. She was at all the protests, all those things like that, and she was definitely there when the White Fang started to take a turn towards the more violent. She is a hardcore believer in the before times of the White Fang, the peaceful White Fang. She did fight with the radical White Fang for a while, but she eventually left. And where did she go after she left? Well, she went to Beacon Academy. She wished to become a huntress in order to make the world better. Now, we don't know exactly what her motives were, but what we do know is that the more she saw Adam go down this radical road, the more she saw just how terrible things might become. So, we pretty much know that she then broke herself off from the White Fang so that she could try to change the world for the better just as herself. But you see, in doing this, she's denying herself as a Faunus, so people aren't gonna see how a Faunus is helping the common people. But I'm getting off track here. That's a story for another video. So, Blake left the White Fang and joined the Huntsman Academy in order to become a huntress and possibly even combat the White Fang once as a huntress. She's even hell-bent on trying to figure out Torchwick and the White Fang's plans, hoping that she can stop the White Fang all by herself. And you see, my friends, this right here, this one decision, her decision to join up with the huntresses and huntsmen, is what caused everything. Now, we're gonna get into the counter argument. What might have happened if she would have gone down a different route? So, once again, let's start at the beginning. But this time, we're going to be starting at a different beginning. we're going to be starting Episode 7 of Volume 3, Cinder's, Emerald's, and Mercury's backstory. We saw that the Chaos Syndicate went to the White Fang to offer them a position in their plans. And we saw that Adam denied them. He said no. And this was before Blake left the White Fang. As a matter of fact, the very next day, they were going to attack the train that was in the black trailer. And once Cinder and the Chaos Syndicate returns after attacking Amber, Blake has already left the White Fang, and they're suggesting that they might go looking for her, to which Adam denies. He says no. So we know not that much time had progressed between those two events. Now you see, during that time, I believe Blake made her way to Vale and started to look at Beacon Academy. Started to figure out what her next plan was. And you see, here's the thing. Here's where the decision that would have changed everything should have been made. Blake knew how radical the White Fang had become. She knew how dangerous they had become. Even though she was playing constant denial with herself, she knew that Adam would stop at nothing to get his way. It didn't matter how many humans he had to kill. It didn't matter what kind of steps he had to take. He was going to do what he thought was right by the White Fang. She knew this deep down in her heart, even though she didn't want to admit it. She didn't want to accept it. And you see, if she would have accepted it, she would have done the responsible thing and gone to the authorities and told them about the White Fang's location. Now, let's break this series of events down. She would have either gone to the authorities personally, possibly turning herself in, stating that she is a member of the White Fang and she knows where they are operating out of. Or she could have tipped off the authorities anonymously. Either way, it doesn't matter. She would have gotten if she would have gotten the information to the authorities, they would have acted upon it. Let's not forget, the authorities had been taking White Fang activity up to that point seriously. The White Fang is an organization that is pretty much a terrorist group. They're doing all these terrible things, stealing from trains, riots in the street, armed violence, attempted assassinations on the Schnee Dust Company, which we know has ties to the Atlas military. So if the authorities had gotten wind of a White Fang encampment, that at the encampment is a very powerful lieutenant, Adam, they would have sent as many forces as they need to take care of that place, to take care of that encampment. They would have gone in full force and arrested all of the White Fang members, or killed them if they had resisted. And even if they hadn't gotten there in time, they still would have been on their tails. They would have been following their trail. And you see, if the authorities had gone to that encampment, if they would have gone to that encampment and either killed or captured all the White Fang there, Cinder wouldn't have been able to use them in her plans. Therefore, Torchwick wouldn't have been able to start stealing all that dust in Volume 1 and in Volume 2. They wouldn't have had the operation southeast of Vale in Mount Glen, building the bombs and rigging up the train to lure the Grimm into the city, and they wouldn't have been the spearhead of the attack at Beacon Academy. And you see, the reason why Blake didn't do this, once again, is because she is afraid. She is afraid of what she is and how people look at her. She's afraid to be labeled as a criminal. She's afraid to be labeled as a faunus. And you see, being labeled as a criminal, being afraid of that, I can understand. But being afraid to be labeled as a faunus, as who you are, she has no pride in herself. She is indeed a cowardly lion. She is afraid to do what she knows is necessary to stop the bad guys. She doesn't want to accept the facts that Adam is this terrible person. She is so afraid that the only thing she could do was run away and try to fix it herself. And that, my friends, is what caused all the turmoil that happened in Volume 3. Blake is the reason why Torchwick is dead. Blake is the reason why Beacon fell and Pyrrha is dead. Blake is the reason why Penny is dead and Yang got her arm cut off. It is all Blake's fault due to this one cowardly decision that she made. But hey, those are just my thoughts. And the real question is, what do you guys think? Hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. I hope that this video actually made you guys think about some of Blake's actions and how things could have been different throughout these three first volumes of RWBY. So, if you think I'm right about this, go ahead and leave a like, and if you think I'm wrong, go ahead and voice your opinion down in the comments below. I'd like to get some discussions going on about this. Is Blake truly the one responsible for anything? Does she share only some of the blame? I mean, I want to see what you guys think. And if you guys hate my guts for beating up on Blake a little bit, I guess that's alright too. I mean, we're all in this together, right? So anyway, be sure to like and favorite if you've enjoyed. Subscribe, of course, if you feel inclined to. Go ahead and check out these links up here to my Twitter account, my Team Theory page on Facebook, and to my Patreon account if you want to support me that way. Big thanks to all my Patreon sponsors. They're going to be showing right up here on screen. You guys are awesome. Love you lots, and I'll see you guys next time I'm out there in YouTube land. Be a good person, tip your waitresses, keep moving forward. I'll see you next time. Yeah!